Hello, class. My name is Akia Kamai Fisher, and for my research topic, I chose autism. I chose this topic because I am a mother of two children who both have been diagnosed with autism, and my son, we have been navigating his diagnosis for the last 2 years, and honestly, with the help of all of the resources that I've had previously, it has been easy for me to be able to early diagnose my daughter now. So my central question for my paper is, how can early interventions and support systems empower families to navigate the challenges that come with raising a child with autism? And through my research, I found that that early intervention is really the best way to help your child who has autism, or even if it's not your child, anybody that you're taking care of, friends or family members, if you know that are young or you see signs possibly of autism. The earlier that you get help, the better the outcome is. There are many early intervention systems that are available to children with autism, such as applied behavior analysis, um, behavioral therapies, occupational therapies, physical therapies, speech therapies, IEPs, IFSPs, which are family plans and traditionally for children that are under 3 years old and cannot be in a school district yet, and many other resources. And what happens traditionally with a lot of families who have a child with an autism diagnosis, through many different stories and articles that I've read, parents are often left feeling hopeless and helpless, which I can agree. The first time I received an autism diagnosis with my son, I reacted completely different than with my daughter. With my son, I completely broke down thinking that, how are we going to do this? Is he ever going to be able to progress? What is it going to look like? And that was with a very mild stage 1 autism diagnosis, with echolalia, so with the hardness of speech. But anyways, parents can be left feeling hopeless. So having early intervention systems not only helps show families that there are people out there that can help you, but it also helps parents see that this diagnosis does not define your child, and it is not forever, and it is not permanent. So your child may go into speech therapy and be diagnosed with echolalia and constantly repeating words, and a parent might think to themselves, are they ever going to be able to speak back to me? Are they ever going to be able to say they love me on their own without me prompting them? And having an early tool such as speech therapy and working with people who actually specialize in these fields instead of just researching it on your own, which can still be helpful. Having people that specialize in these fields can help your child grow substantially and in ways that you wouldn't even be able to imagine. Things such as IEPs have been proven to help children with autism greatly, to where children will outgrow their IEPs. Many children who have an IEP will not stay in an IEP program. They will eventually leave. And what's great about that is an IEP is not just reliant on an autism diagnosis, it is just reliant on a learning disability. So if your child is diagnosed with autism, a lot of times they might have a learning disability where it is hard for them to understand things, but they're able to outgrow that and still be a part of that normal childhood of being in regular classes and amongst other peers that a parent might be afraid of. Also, being able to empower parents to let their children have the freedom to make their own choices. There's something that is debilitating about feeling like you have to wash your child forever, or you're always going to have to toilet them. How are you going to get them potty trained? And it seems like it's not clicking. But when you have resources such as occupational therapy and behavioral therapy, they are able to help you be guided through these processes as they are more well equipped. Also, outside of just these early intervention systems that are greatly beneficial, having a really strong support system helps families feel like they are connected to their community and that their child is not a burden. Many parents with children of autism feel that their child is a burden and they might not take their children to common family events such as birthday parties, or even they might not want to take them to a park or to the movies and do other things that most kids would do because they are afraid of not just how their child might behave, but mainly because of how others might perceive them. So having a strong support system behind you, like friends and family members that will say, hey, I'm there for you, and it doesn't matter if these people are going to judge you because I have your back, or even joining support groups such as moms or other caregivers that are also dealing and navigating with raising a child or even an adult with autism. You can get some new insight on things that you've never even thought of without having to completely go to a doctor. So you get to kind of see things that worked with others before and know that you have a community that has been there, that gets it and understands just how hard and mentally draining it can be. And those people become trusted friends. Many people that have children with autism don't feel comfortable leaving their child with just anybody, even some family members, especially because a lot of times there is a verbal disconnect where your child has a hard time communicating things that happened. So you might not feel as comfortable with people watching your child, but knowing that you might have a support group of people that have dealt with children with autism or that are really trusted allows you to take a break and recharge yourself. It is highly recommended by many doctors and physicians that parents and caregivers of children and adults with autism practice self-care. Self-care is really huge because you can't pour into somebody else's cup and give them your all, which many parents will because you're so invested in this child and adult's growth and their outcomes that you tend to neglect yourself. And when you start to neglect yourself, it can lead to misconduct with these children and adults where you might not be treating them as well as you can. Or you might lead down a spiral of depression and have to end up on certain pills to help with that. So overall, I have found that early interventions and support systems can be very helpful to families, and it helps them take the power back in raising their child and understanding that this isn't as hard of a walk as it may seem. It is definitely challenging nonetheless, but there are people that have been there. There are resources there, that are people there for you. There are financial grants and scholarships and tax credits and many other programs now, especially as autism is becoming more prevalent of a diagnosis, that are available to families. There are also programs where you can take your child out to a free day, out to somewhere such as Legoland for your child with autism, which you may not have been able to afford before, but now you're able to take them to these sensory safe places, and it's paid for, and they'll pay for your family. So I really enjoyed learning about this. I feel like I got some good feedback, and I hope that you guys enjoyed watching this video and got some good feedback as well.